On February 10th, 2021, around 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the tug Ingenika, with a master and 2 deckhands on board, departed Kitimat for its voyage to Kemano Bay, British Columbia. It was towing a barge, the Miller 204, which was carrying an estimated 1,100 liters of diesel fuel, 6.5 tons of sulfuric acid in bulk, and other cargo. The forecast was for gale force winds and freezing spray along the voyage route. The initial part of the voyage was uneventful. However, just before 10 p.m., as the vessel made its way around Europa Point, its course changed relative to the wind and current. The change in conditions impacted the tug's ability to tow the barge, and the tug's speed began to fluctuate and decrease significantly. At some point, the tug heeled over to starboard. The master made a mayday call and then ordered the crew to abandon ship. The tug began rapidly sinking. Deckhand 1 was below deck in his bunk when the tug heeled over. By the time he made it up to the wheelhouse, he did not have time to don an immersion suit. He stepped into the cold water and swam away from the vessel. The master and deckhand 2 followed behind him, partially wearing their immersion suits. The Ingenika was fitted with a self-inflating life raft that released soon after the tug sank. Deckhand 1 was able to swim and climb aboard the raft. However, the master and deckhand 2 were unable to reach it. The Ingenika was also fitted with an emergency position indicating radio beacon that activated when it sank and automatically sent the tug's coordinates to search and rescue. This helped search and rescue to home in on the area of the occurrence and concentrate their efforts there. Deckhand 1 had drifted to shore in the life raft and was eventually located by search and rescue approximately 10 hours later. He was transported to hospital. He suffered hypothermia and frostbite. The bodies of the master and deckhand 2 were also recovered. The barge was located downriver of Europa Point and was later towed to Prince Rupert. The Ingenika sank in deep water with approximately 3,500 liters of diesel fuel on board. Despite efforts by multiple federal agencies, the vessel was not located. Our investigation found that numerous factors contributed to this accident. The tug and barge departed in adverse weather conditions without a comprehensive assessment of the Ingenika's suitability for the towing operation being undertaken. As the Ingenika and barge made their way around Europa Point in opposing wind and current, the heavily loaded barge may have continued on its trajectory instead of following behind the tug. The drag force of the barge may have led the tug to heel over and the deck edge to submerge, resulting in downflooding through deck openings and the vessel sinking. The master and deckhand 2 were only partially wearing their immersion suits, which allowed cold water to enter and contributed to hypothermia and subsequent drowning. The surviving crew member, unencumbered by restrictions from a partially donned immersion suit, was able to remove himself from the water and get into the life raft. The investigation found that if towing companies do not prioritize risk management and provide guidance to help masters assess the suitability of tugs for their towing operations, operational limits can be exceeded, placing the crew, the tug, the tow, and the environment at risk. Furthermore, since tugs of 15 gross tonnage or less are not subject to adequate regulatory surveillance, there is a risk that hazardous occurrences and practices will not be addressed, leading to accidents. Also, if crew members do not have the opportunity to regularly practice responding to emergencies through drills, there is a risk that they will not respond effectively in an emergency, decreasing their chances of survival.